Okay, and I think I am live on a new live stream at the moment. And thank you to everyone who has tuned in. It looks like no one is on at the moment. I'm going to try my very best to take the link and send it through. I apologize for the technical difficulties and the delay, guys. It's the first time I'm doing my live stream, as you could probably tell. But Duncluck Jr., hey, how are you, man? If you could do me a favor, all right, because I don't want to screw anything up. It looks like there's 4 people watching now. Can one of you guys please take the link somehow and take the link and post it onto the chat, the previous chat of the other stream? That was the initial one that I couldn't get to work somehow. Yeah, for whatever reason, the one where I set the reminder, I didn't really know how to start the stream. And that's why I am now doing the stream here. But it's great to see you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah. Hey, Elsbridge Productions, Ben Reyes, Coastal Run Productions. Hi, Average Thomas Man. How is everyone doing tonight? So glad you guys were able to find this out. There's already 17 people watching. Thank you so much. But again, I was just going to say, for anyone who could, if they could post the link to this new stream to the one that I couldn't get to work, that I had the reminder set for, that would be excellent. And thank you so much, Dunkluck. For everyone who can hear me, can everyone hear me at the moment, by the way, clearly? I apologize if the footage is not as clear as it could be. Again, this is the first time I'm ever doing something like this, but I wanted to keep my word, and a few folks, close folks I hang with, I told them that if Biden won the election, which he did, no matter how you want to put it, considering that they're still waiting for votes. I mean, he clearly passed 270, so he won. That I would do my very first live stream on the same exact day. So I figured, might as well. All right, thank you. So it looks like you can hear me well. Hey, Model Fan Train 102, how are you? James the Red Engine Fan 99. It's really great to see you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if one of you guys can also maybe post. I can try to do it, but it might be easier if one of you guys do it, because I don't know how different it is for me versus you guys. Again, this is the first time I'm doing this, but if you could maybe take the link, post it on for those of you who have a Twitter account, Elsbridge Productions, Average Thomas Fan, one of you guys, if you could maybe post a link and then tag my name, maybe that for anyone who wasn't able to find this link, that could help them. But I really appreciate the help, guys. Anyhow, so as I said, yes, I'm doing this stream for those of you who just entered the stream. I'm doing this stream for the first time because I told a friend, well, if Biden wins the election, I will make a live stream through my YouTube channel on the same day. And so I had to just keep my word on that. And maybe a few of you guys were just tuning in, he just gave a very, very well orated victory speech with Kamala Harris. But that's that. I don't want this whole stream to be about politics, because I'm sure like 90% of what we've been thinking about all week has just been that, at least for those who live in America. But hey, TrainFan365, how are you? Oh, hello, Rishi Ramsing. Oh, it's great to see all you guys here. Yeah, but you guys are probably wondering, so why am I doing this live stream? Well, I realized, well, it has been some time since I've made technically a formal video. The last one was really the last narrow gauge extension video, which was uploaded, I believe, in August. So it was right before classes started again with me. And I figured, you know what, let me find a way to talk with fans while I'm still home for this pandemic and I have access to my layout, maybe give an informal tour of the layout of where it currently stands. And then maybe in addition to that, we can maybe do an informal Q&A. So if you guys have we'll start with the Q&A portion. So if you guys have any questions, just go crazy in the chat, and I'll see what I can do. So, hey, Junction Malfunction, how are you? And I'm doing very well, TrainFan365. It's been a very busy week, of course. It's a stressful week with the uncertainties of the election and of course real life stuff in general. But it's great to be here. My favorite, am I your best friend? Average Thomas Fan. You are one of my best friends. That's what I will say. I have more than one best friend. But let's see. What's your favorite kind of pizza? Let's see. Probably chicken with broccoli. especially, but the chicken has to be breaded. Yeah, there's actually a pizza place in the village where I live, called Rose's Pizza, and the biggest slices of pizza I've ever seen. For those of you who don't know, I live on Long Island, New York, and from what I've run online, at least, like we have pretty good pizza here, and Rose's Pizza has to probably be my favorite pizzeria that I've had in all of the town where I live, and the slices are just absolutely delicious. Chicken with broccoli, though, that has to be my favorite go-to. Favorite food? Let's see. That's a tough one. It always changes, but right now I've really been digging Korean bibimbap. If any of you guys know what that is, it's an Asian rice dish, mixed rice dish with egg and meat and all this other delicious stuff. But that'll be that. Okay, already I can see a lot of questions here, so I'm gonna do my best here. But let's see. Favorite character? Terrence, no doubt about that. What's my favorite country? Well, I guess the United States, because I live in it. And it's also the land of the free, home of the brave. But I also really, really love Austria because most of my favorite music comes from Austria. So let's see. Thank you so much, Elsbeth, for tweeting it out. Favorite Bachmann item? Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I personally really love the resin buildings. And those of you who have video called with me in the past, like, I can go all day talking about Bachmann and like things I would like to see them announced in the future, and especially with the turn of the show, because when we really think about it, there's nowadays with the whole revamp that's been going on with the Thomas show, there's two paths Bachmann could take. They could continue with, like, I guess, transitioning into CGI, and then maybe announce like the few left, such as Ryan, like popular ones that people have wanted, like Ryan, NHO Ryan, obviously like Sir Handel, because he also appeared in CGI. But the other one that I've been thinking about and has gotten such high attention has been Stepney, and while some people may be a little skeptical about Stepney, when you see that like Bachmann announced characters like Donald and Douglas and in 2010 and Duck in 2012 and even the Spiteful Breakfriend in 2017 of all characters, it really shows you that anything is possible, and like it really comes down to like what fans want with Bachmann, because like they know that we're really the customers, especially with the high prices, how expensive the models are. They really cater to us older fans. So so if they were to do Stepney next, then hopefully, to finish off the classes, they could possibly do Boko as one more main classic character. But if they do Ryan, then I could see Ryan and maybe I guess Sydney. I'm not really sure, but we'll just have to see. Of course, with COVID and the pandemic, that hasn't helped with how things have progressed. Let's see. Favorite kind of pizza, favorite country, United States, Bachmann item. How did I plan my layout? Okay, so that's definitely a question I could take some time on. So for those of you who probably don't know, the layout I began in early 2012 with my father, benchwork, and for years, my father and I, like we were both just so fascinated by the artistry and the craftsmanship of the model series, of David Mitton, Brett Alcroft, the world that they brought together, the magical world, Island of Sodor. And, looking at these beautiful shots, like the season 5 fishing village, for instance, inspired us to recreate it in HO at the best of our ability. So, and that's where like we both started to sketch out plans in 2011. Okay, could this work? Could that work? One regret that we do have actually is the fact that we did not do reverse loops. In other words, like the tracks go in one big circle, right, on my layout, the two outer main lines. Whereas on a lot of model train layouts, you'll have a reverse loop, and then it'll go back, and then it'll do another reverse loop and go back. So then there's still, like, it's almost like a horseshoe. So like, and there's that one side that's left open so you can reach the middle. And like the regret is that we always have to crawl underneath the board to get to the middle where the controls are. And that can sometimes be a pain in the butt when working on scenery or just filming and etc. And like my father says, like it just kills his knees. But other than that, like we're very happy with like how the layouts progressed. But going back to your question, yeah, so it was just a lot of sketching, a lot of measuring out like how much space we would need for like the coastal route, for the fishing village, and like measuring out the dimensions of buildings. because ultimately, like, this is HO scale, so we had to just think in terms of HO scale. Could this fit? Is this going to be too tight? Like, because obviously, like the curves, for example, if you're so used to like working with TrackMaster, for instance, even though HO is technically the same size, obviously with model trains, like the radius of the curve is much more gentle. So those were all things that we had to consider when planning the layout. But it was just a lot of brainstorming, a lot of sketching on paper, and imagination. So I hope that answers your question. But yeah, thank you for asking that. Let's see what else we have here. How long did it take to build your layout? So once again, we started it back in 2012, and now it's 2020. I mean, technically, I guess it was semi-finished in 2014 when I uploaded the first tour of the Sodor layout, when, you know, I could say that it was presentable enough. But as you could see, like, there were many changes we were still making to it. You know, the narrow gauge as the main addition, first in the middle, and now the new extension over in that corner back there. You could actually probably see it where all the white mountains are in the back. And a little later, I'll try my best to like lift up my laptop and like walk around the layout, give you guys a little informal tour of how things are looking. But yeah, could you guys yeah, just to make sure, could you guys once again put a Y or a yes in the chat if you can hear me clearly? Just, I want to make sure that you guys can all hear me. Excellent. Okay, great. Once again, it's the first time I'm doing this live stream for those of you just tuned in, and so I appreciate the doctor. Oh my God, the main man, the doctor, the guy who works with me on the Sodor series episodes is here, and that is fantastic, from Australia. So where you are, I'm assuming it is morning. Where I am, it is nighttime. So hey, there you go. I mean, that's the great thing about, you know, the social media, right? You can be anywhere in the world at any point and it still works. But anyhow, I'm going to try my best to keep up with these questions here. How did you find the narrow gauge extension? Or I guess, or like how did you think of the narrow gauge extension? So yeah, once again, it was just a lot of imagination, you know, thinking what could exactly fit here, what could fit there, what would look good there too. You know, oftentimes I also think in terms of like how can I film this comfortably, you know? Like, I don't want to have a look. Let's say, for example, I wanted to do like the mountain line in the middle. So I purposely had that on the edge of the board so that like I could have a good viewpoint when filming. I could put the camera in a reasonably good spot. You know, areas where I didn't really think clearly, I realized were areas like Brendam Docks, because oftentimes when I want to film, I have to kind of like put my camera in an awkward place all the way at the wall, so I can't really see clearly what I'm doing, if that makes sense. That's always the big drawback to having a permanent layout. You know, you can't really rip out anything and like redress things to fit your camera in properly. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Best Thomas season 5, without a doubt. That has to be my favorite season. It's the season I grew up with, because the first Thomas VHS I ever saw in the US was Make Someone Happy and Other Stories. And I remember I would watch it continuously. Just such wonderful episodes. Make Someone Happy, Happy Ever After, even Ba, like a very simple episode like that. Like, there was just, again, there was this kind of spirit that Thomas always had that made it very different from kids shows, and just the model work, how realistic it looked, and Mike and Junior's, you know, gorgeous, appealing background music. You know, that's what really drawed me into it, and why I'm still to this day a diehard model series fan. So, yeah, but season 5, but of course also the dramatic episodes like Toby and the Flood, Haunted Henry, Horrid Laurie. I mean, Races, Rescues, and Runaways has to be like, you know, one of the best VHSs for those who live in America, you know. Yeah, just unbelievable artistry, you know, in season 5. I would say like it probably looked the most realistic too to me, you know, with season 2 probably coming in second place. But I just think it was the best of everything, you know. The only thing it didn't have was Audrey stories, you know. But that's that. I can't wait for Peter Sam. Yeah, me neither. Train Jack 16. I can't wait for Peter Sam either. Delayed to 2021, unfortunately. However, I can guarantee you, as with Bachmann, as almost always, like, it'll be worth the wait. And I just can't wait to see that funnel, the Giesel funnel. It's gonna look fantastic. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm not skipping any questions. Yes, yeah, Matteo Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I'll just say Matteo P. the plan for this stream as of now is just to mainly be structured as a Q&A, just to speak face-to-face with fans really for the first time, and catch up, since I haven't really been as active as I hope while I'm still home for this pandemic, studying virtually for college. But and then in addition to that, later on after this Q&A, I'm going to try to lift up my laptop and give you guys a little informal tour of the layout, but that probably won't be in another hour or so. So just a full hour full of questions, and the stream will be saved to my channel. I'm going to try to upload it, have it permanent for those of you who need to tune out early. So let's see. What's the one model from the Hornby Thomas range do you wish you had? It's a good one. I mean, I pretty much have all the ones like I could ever want. I have Stephanie, Murdoch, Oliver, D261. But if I could pick maybe one more Hornby Thomas model, it's a tough one. Maybe Bear, just because Bachmann never made him, and like he's kind of a unique engine, just to have him, even though he's based on his Railway Series design. But like I said, my Hornby, in terms of Hornby, like I pretty much have all the products I want. I just need to get one more great Waterton platform pack, and one more dryer platforms pack, and one more dryer ramps pack to finish dryer on the other stations. Yes, this revamp is disgraceful, disgusting, despicable. Jacob K, no doubt. It's appalling. I mean, just the fact that Mattel, the people of Mattel have their heads up their asses that far, just after Big World, Big Adventures, they're just going to dig themselves into a deeper hole. It's just hard for me to comprehend like what led to that decision. But it is what it is. What's my favorite Hornby item? Murdoch, no doubt. The Hornby Murdoch is just, even though it's a railroad recolor, just it is a brilliant model, in terms of performance, design. But that's also why that also reminds me that also is why, if you guys remember, I posted on Twitter, suggesting Bachmann, in the future, considering that now, if they go towards the model series path, with the revamp now and CGI kind of going into like quote unquote extinction, like the model series did, one thing they could do, Bachmann, is like make models like that are just, even though they're not technically in the show anymore, they're models that are in very high demand, such as Murdoch. So, or I guess have high interest within avid Thomas fans. So, I mean, because the tooling would be so expensive, though, I was thinking they could possibly look at their UK 9F now that they have the connections with the UK are much more apparent. Obviously, the model would be extremely expensive, but I mean, for those who are unfortunately missed out on a Hornby Murdoch, that would be a great way for them to get a Murdoch model. So, that is that. I apologize, guys, if you hear some screaming coming upstairs, because I live with obviously my parents and my younger sister, so my sister might be bickering at the moment. So I apologize for that. Let's see. What other locations that you would like to add to your layout but can't? Good question. So locations I couldn't fit in my layout that I really wish. There's three big ones. One is Ellsbridge Station, the second is the Watermill, and the third is the mainline viaduct. Like those are the three main locations I wish I could have somehow incorporated, but I just didn't have the room for. For remakes or episodes in the future in which I were to, let's say, use Ellsbridge, I'll probably just redress Knapford somehow, just to take off the canopies, maybe in the poles and supports, and that's how I'd use Ellsbridge. Let's see. Am I getting Bachmann Daisy? Of course. Who isn't? I can't wait, man. Bachmann Daisy, the first bogey diesel in the line. It's going to be incredible to see how she turns out. Buka would be nice. I agree. Harvey would be good. Yeah, hopefully, that would be wonderful. Let's see. If I could get one current Bachmann loco, which one would you suggest? So if you're someone who doesn't have any of the Bachmann engines, I mean, I guess the go-to is to get Thomas. But if you're looking for like the best model, I would prefer, I would say either Edward or, I mean, he's really hard to get, but Salty, because I honestly think Salty is probably the best HO engine in the entire line. Other great engines are Donald and Douglas, Duck. Who else is there? Edward, as I think I previously mentioned. But yeah, see. Do you think Hector would be a good Bachmann release? He would probably be too tall and therefore breach the NMRA regulations, unfortunately. The NMRA regulations or standards. Basically, I think like the model can't be too tall, because if it is, then it just won't be allowed as a product. And that's also why I think they've avoided characters like Harvey and even Diesel 10. If they could somehow make Diesel 10's claws smaller, like the Trackmaster model, so that he could fit through tunnel portals rather than being so chunky like on the show, then I could see it as a possibility. But that's for Bachmann really to decide. And I don't know how many fans would be upset if Diesel 10's claw were to be that small. Let's see. Have you collected any Wooden Railway before? Yes. In fact, Wooden Railway is actually, I plan to post a Wooden Railway collection video probably either December or January, because I realized that is, other than Trackmaster Tomy, that is the only line which I didn't showcase in my various Thomas collections video that I uploaded back in, I want to say 2017. It's on my channel. And that's because Wooden Railway, my collection is pretty expansive. And I just want to make a separate video just for that. I'm trying this Christmas actually to purchase just the 2 or 3 Wooden Railway items I need to consider complete. Basically, I'm trying to have every single engine, or every single character rather, that was produced prior to when Mattel took over. So prior to 2013. And I do have some Mattel era stuff, like I have the Wooden Railway Timothy and Marion, because I was lucky enough to find them at like my local TJ Maxx or Marshalls, and you guys probably know, at least for those who live in the US, those are stores where you can find like Thomas products for like half the price. And so when you see that, I just snatch it, because I know like at some point they will get discontinued and become rare. So, but the answer is yes. I do collect Wooden Railway, and a collection video will be coming in probably a month or two. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Favorite Thomas episode. Oh, this is so hard. I can't say I have a favorite one. I'd probably always resort to Make Someone Happy, since that was the first one I ever saw. But it always depends on my mood. Like if I'm really feeling hyped up, like I'll choose like one of the more dramatic episodes, like Toby and the Flood from season 5. But like if I want to see like one of the episodes that just explores like the beauty of Sodor, like obviously like ones like Henry's Forest, Make Someone Happy, Happy Ever After. What else is there? Sir Topham-Matt's Holiday, and of course most of the Narrator episodes from season 4. Like those are like all the ones that really stand out to me, because they really showed the beauty of Sodor. Let's see. Okay, my chat all of a sudden stopped, and then it got big out of nowhere. But let's see. Yes. Oh, hey, Plowbender. Thanks for tuning in. The episode I hate the most. Well, I mean, if we're not including like anything past season 7, I guess the Old Bridge, since Skarloey was just so out of character. But seasons 1 to 5, it's hard, because I mean, for someone who lives in the US, I would say Thomas and Percy's Mountain Adventure, since that episode was kind of a mess up. But I mean, I guess I would say maybe like Thomas and the Guard, just because it was a very dry episode, even though it is an Audrey episode, it just wasn't the most entertaining, And that's kind of how I felt really with like the first 2 seasons with Thomas. They were so strictly, they followed Audrey's books so well, and that's why Audrey loved them so much. Season 3 was when they really started to branch away and then implement different stories. But when you look at seasons 3 to 5 versus seasons 1 and 2, seasons 1 and 2 just seem so much more dry in a way. Like seasons 3 to 5 were the ones where like you look at that, you're like, wow, this is just gorgeous. It's so refreshing to look at this, and it's like this is almost like it's a utopia, but it's not a utopia, because like the engines still go through problems. But when you look at how gorgeous like the narrow gauge scenes are in season 4 and the fishing village from season 5, it's like this is incredible. And again, that's the kind of stuff that just kept me so attached with Thomas, as someone who is now 21. So yeah, Wrong Road, that's another great episode. Train Fan 365, an excellent one from season 2, definitely one of my favorites from season 2. Oh hey, Megan Echo, glad you could join. Sam Studios, great to see you. How's the narrow gauge extension going? It's going well. I mean, while I've been studying virtually, I'm home for the pandemic, home from college because of the coronavirus. But even though I've been studying from home, unfortunately, I haven't spent that much time down here on the new extension. Usually, just Friday nights and Saturday nights for the most part, and then sometimes in the afternoon if I have time, not too much schoolwork to do. But yeah, I mean, it's going okay. I mean, the plaster cloth, as you probably saw from my last update video, is pretty much done. I'm just working now with the rock molds. I have to get to that next. What I will say, I've also been working on the Henry and the Elephant remake, which you guys saw the sneak peek too, hopefully. That will probably be up around Christmas time. If not, then early to mid-January. But I'm going to try to upload it the same week as Christmas, if possible. But that's that in terms of things to come. The doctor, what is the best thing to happen in 2020? Oh, it's hard to say, really. I mean, because this year has really been quite the shithole. But I guess just the fact that we're all alive and well, the fact that we're not in the hospital, and at the verge of dying. I guess just being grateful for life. I guess. I know that's kind of a lame answer, a very shallow answer, but there's nothing really else I could say in terms of the best thing that has happened. But yeah, please do a Tomy collection. I might do that as well. That is the I know that's the one other line I haven't really showcased. That collection is actually quite small though, so I might do a separate video for that. It'll probably be very short. I'll just have to see. We'll play it by ear. Thoughts on Ertl? It's a fantastic line. Ertl, I mean, it's really the father brand. I mean, unless you want to consider, I guess, Hornby or one of the other really early brands, but I mean, Ertl was really what started it all. In terms of merchandise, and I use most of the road vehicles and non-rail vehicles in general for my HO layout. They most of them are pretty well in scale with HO, so it works well. But yeah, let's see. Do I have Bachmann Spencer? Yes, I do. We need a lady for HO scale. Probably not going to happen, but I mean, hey, the show is going through a major overhaul for the worse. And we're at the point now for something like Bachmann, like it could honestly be a blessing in disguise when you consider they may actually listen to us fans more. Hopefully Mattel won't get in the way. I mean, of course, that's easier said than done, but that's that. Let's see. It would be really nice to see if Bachmann made Arthur. I agree. Yes, Arthur would be fantastic. Hey, Riotron12, how are you? If you ever wanted to remake the whole layout, what's something you would do differently? Very good question. That's actually a great question, because I mean, while I'm very happy with the layout I have right now, there are definitely changes I would have made to it. For starters, probably what I would have done is make the lines more prototypical to the island of Sodor map. In other words, while I do have Nafford and Tidmouth pretty much in one side of the layout, what I wish is that by station by station, by location to location, it would have followed the main line more accurately, instead of going into the coastal route, you know what I mean? This shouldn't technically go into the coastal route, but that's just how it ended up happening. It does look nice, if you don't consider the map of Sodor, but at the same time, that's probably one change I would have made had I thought about this maybe when I was in high school rather than middle school, which is when the layout did begin. But that's the main thing. How do you create your models? Well, most of them I don't create. I don't create these models. They're mostly by Bachmann and Hornby, Ertl, and but in terms of the scenery, that's just mainly woodland scenics. Going through their tutorials and how to construct mountains using cardboard stripping and plaster cloth. And yeah, what are you going to do when you eventually have to move out of your family's house and have to leave your life behind? That's another great question. Yes. Basically, I think what's going to happen is that just the layout's always going to be here. For those of you who know, I'm a senior undergraduate student who's majoring in music education and performance. And hopefully, if I'm lucky, I hope to find a public school job here on Long Island where I live, so I can commute from home at least at first. But eventually there's probably going to be a time where I live on my own. And once that day comes, I mean, what I might do is just make a very small N scale layout, maybe like 4x2, just a little coffee table size layout. And then basically during the summers, I'd come maybe live here and then spend time with the layout. So actually, when you think of it, it wouldn't really be much different than what I'm experiencing right now. You know, how I'm always more active in the summers than during the school year. So that's probably what I do. But yeah, to answer about the models and everything, they would probably all just stay here, unless my family were to, for whatever reason, move to a different place, in which that case we'd have to tear down the layout, unfortunately. But don't want to think about that, at least yet. What prop should Cool Props do next? Good question. Let's see. Well, they announced Thomas, Bill and Ben, now the LBSC Thomas. For color, just because of diversity of color, I want to say James. I think James would be a nice addition. But I would love to see them do Duck. You know, Duck would be a fantastic addition. I love Duck's model so much. So, does your dad still play trombone professionally? Yes. How did you know that? Little Jake 250. But he doesn't play professionally. He's amateur, but he loves to play the trombone and during his free time. But I'm a little skeptical as to suspicious as to how you knew that. So just okay. Would you pay $2,000 for that Hornby Murdoch off eBay? I personally wouldn't. I think that it's probably more beneficial to either make your own Murdoch model or wait to see if Bachmann would make one in the coming years. You know, hope and pray. But or ask someone else, you know, who's much more experienced, you know, in making custom models, and then, you know, just pay them for the commission and all that. Because, you know, nowadays with how much people communicate with one another in the Thomas fandom, you know, you could hit up anyone, you know, who you know can is accepting commissions, ask them, and then find a reasonable price to pay, and then they'll make the model and they'll make it at a very, very high quality, you know. So that is that. There's Thomas behind you. I see. Yes, Thomas right there with some ventilated vans going by the coastal route. Yeah, kind of giving me some something in the air vibes right now, but that's just a coincidence, and that was not intentional. How do you operate a return loop on a layout like on the mountain road? Another great question. So that loop in the mountain road that you guys know, so there's a spur and then it loops around. When we were working on that mountain line, my father and I, like, we actually screwed up because we realized that, like, we had to put in insulated rail joiners and then wire it a whole another way, you know, to get the reverse loops to work properly, and we failed to do that. So basically what we ended up doing was putting in insulated rail joiners. And so what the line is, that the way it works, that the engine, Scarlowy, Reneus, or whoever the narrow gauge engine, will run across the bridge, go straight, turn, you know, this way, this way around the mountain into Reneus Tunnel, and stop at Glenlock Station, and that would be like the dead end. There's no way that you can go over that spur, just because of the way we wired it. Like, it was kind of a big screw up on our part, but I mean, it runs, and we're just happy about that, I guess. Let's see, trying to catch up with all your questions, guys. And if I don't answer your question by any chance, just try to see if you can send me a DM on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Jabrius Cook, what do I think of Thomas now? I mean, it's really a slap in the face to Audrey. I mean, like, he thought season 3 was bad. I mean, if he thought season 3 was bad, what, like, I mean, it's just that's the way I see it. You know, we have to show our respect to Audrey, you know, at least in terms of, like, maybe not necessarily keeping the models. Like, I understand, like, CGI had to be done at some point, but, like, at least make the writing reasonably good, like how season 20 did. You know, keep it like that at the very least. But I mean, that's a whole nother thing that people have constantly talked about. Mekaneko, yes, I do have Boulder still up there. You might be able to see him actually, right over in the corner there, behind the coastal mountain, the gray mountain there, where I'm pointing. That's Boulder, the wooden railway Boulder. I have him up there. Some point I might weather him up, you know, make it more realistic. But yeah, what character variant would you like to see from Bachmann? I would like to see a Ghost Train Percy or a Jack Ross Percy. Yeah. So we can definitely, when looking at what Bachmann has produced, we can definitely expect more recolors to be produced. You know, because we're at this day and age, especially with the pandemic, we can't expect new toolings constantly, especially with HO. So, I mean, ones I've suggested are like a chocolate covered Percy, a Jack Frost Percy, because when you think of it, Thomas Percy and James are the three main characters or advertised characters. So we have the Busy Bee James and the Black James and the original James, three Jameses, LBSC Thomas, original Thomas, and the Sound Thomas. And well, the Celebration one was now discontinued, but there's three Thomases, three James models, and there's only one Percy still. So I would say, yeah, do it maybe a chocolate covered Percy, and maybe if they can somehow implement like shiny plastic on top, a Jack Frost Percy would be very nice too. So who's my favorite Thomas character? Once again, Terrence. What about tar covered James? I mean, I guess they could do that, but I mean, there's already three Jameses in the line. So if they were to do that, it would probably not be in like another 5 years from now, I guess. So what do you think of the N scale Bachmann Thomas range, and how would you compare it to the Tomix range? Okay, so from what I've seen, the N scale line, I mean, it's definitely a strong start with announcing Thomas Percy, and Andy Clarabelle and the Troublesome trucks. The one thing I don't like is just how they've proportioned their models. And I know this has actually kind of been an issue ever since, I want to say, even 2015. When you look at how the Rosie model, for example, in HO is actually slightly too long, things like that. When you look at Thomas's model compared to Annie and Clarabelle, Thomas is technically shorter than Annie and Clarabelle. However, like in the CGI series, but it looks very, very odd. When you look at the large scale model and the HO model, how their scaling was more prototypical to the model series, with Thomas a little bigger, Annie Clarabelle a little smaller. So, and the side rods also look a little too thick for my liking. But in terms of characters, in terms of possibilities, I think that N scale has a lot in store. I think that the line will continue to grow, probably bigger than large scale, probably not as big as HO scale. But that's just something we're going to have to play by ear. It's all going to depend on sales. But I do think in January, this coming February, there's a good chance that another engine may be announced. I'm betting on Toby just because he's a simple design. But I mean, I would absolutely love it if they announced Gordon, if they could somehow pull off the complex side rods, Because what had me skeptical was that Thomas's side rods were already so thick. So how would they be able to manage Gordon's, So. You could add another setting on your layout, what would it be? So if I could add one more setting, I would probably actually say the watermill. That would be a pretty cool addition that somehow incorporate. Let's see. Diepez suffers from the same fate, absolutely. You look like Mr. MPS. Okay. That's great. If you could add another setting, okay, I already answered that. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely, the doctor. Like, I prefer new character models too, but unfortunately, we have to think financially. When we do character variants, they're using the same tooling, and then they're recoloring it. So financially, it just makes more sense. When you do a new character, unless it's like Sydney or Splatter and Dodge, you have to construct an entire new tooling. So that goes for engines like the Ryan, really any engine, Ryan, Stanley, any of the Stanley, Stepney, any of the popular requests that have been at stake over the years. Do you think Breakdown Trainer Rocky could happen? Very unlikely, honestly. Like that, it just seems too complicated for them to do. I mean, how they would get the chains to work properly, I would love to see it. It's just, especially with how expensive new tooling costs have been, I don't think it seems likely for Bachmann to make something like that, unfortunately. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm just laughing at something because one of my friends from college is here actually, and he's just he's asking questions that have nothing to do with Thomas, and he's asking these questions that have to do with people we know from college, and that's why I'm laughing. You guys if you guys are wondering, it's very awkward, but Let's see. Do you have Bachmann Rusty? Not yet. If I don't get him for Christmas next year, I keep pushing him back just because. But I have this. The narrow gauge extension is still a priority, and I want to just get everything I need for that. I'm also actually trying to get one more Knapford Station kit by Bachmann. I know those have gotten extremely rare within the past months out of nowhere. Like they're out of stock everywhere. Only a few places still have them. But basically what I'm trying to do is get one more Knapford Station kit for the canopies, so then I can have 4 canopies rather than just 2. To make it just more accurate to the show. That's something that I just had in mind for like the past few months. Let's see. Can you do a remake of Rusty and the Boulder? That's going to be kind of challenging just because I don't know how I'd get Boulder to roll properly, but I won't say no. Yes. Is Birdie Memes the next U.S. president? No, he's not. But I would prefer Birdie Memes over our current president. All right, I'll just say that. Yeah, thank God he freaking lost the election. My God, that's all I'm gonna say because the man was a disgrace. The man was a disgrace. Snoopy for president. If only. If only. That's all I'll say. There's no one smarter than Snoopy. That's for sure. What about Paint Splatter Thomas from Colin Watch? Again, another good suggestion. It's a possibility. I would purchase one actually. If I think they'd be kind of interesting if they made Paint Splatter Thomas. But again, there's 3 Thomas models in the line currently. Probably once the LBC Thomas kind of fades out in like I guess another 3 or 4 years, then maybe announce the Paint Splatter Thomas. But again, I won't say no. There's always a chance Bachmann could announce another Thomas out of nowhere too. But if any retired Bachmann item were to return to the range, Rich, which one would you like it to be? Let's see. Thinking about that one. Probably Salty, because I think that he's probably in the highest demand out of all of them. Salty or maybe the Flat Carwood Paint Drums. One of those two. They're just both very unique products, and frankly, I'm surprised that they discontinued them in the first place. Season 1 green coaches or any other Brakeman types. Those would be nice additions. What do you think of the Bumblebee? Oh, okay. What do you think of Bumblebee James and LBSC Thomas? Okay, so starting with LBSC Thomas, yeah, I mean, like it's really something that I feel like they should have done back in 2015, since he's got the 70 and that represents the 70th anniversary. But I'm just glad that they did finally come through with an LBC Thomas, a recolor that multiple fans have suggested over the years. It's not a hard recolor to do, and I do think that it's going to sell well. As for Busy Bee James, it is a very odd announcement, especially alongside the LBC Thomas. But I mean, I don't mind it. If there is a small select of fans who would purchase the model, then so be it. I mean, especially since it's just a recolor. Now, if we're talking about like Nia and Rebecca, like then we're in a whole new territory, since those models, on the other hand, would just the side rod configuration on its own is a whole hassle, and then just the models themselves. I mean, they would look so out of place in my opinion, with all the other classic engines, and that's why I've been pushing for engines like Stepney and Boko, because they would complete the classics and they would be natural additions. But in terms of if they were to do CGI engines, definitely Ryan's the best choice. Ryan or Hero if they could somehow afford that, but he doesn't seem likely, unfortunately. Let's see what else here. I'm trying to answer all your questions, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and hearing me ramble. And I apologize if my voice is just kind of irritating at this point. But current age, I'm 21, senior in college. Knapford Station, Timid Sheds, we're discontinued. Yeah, that's right. You got the Bachmann Daisy, absolutely. I'm incredibly excited. Thoughts on Bwaba? My God, it's not as bad as the revamp that just got announced, but Jesus Christ, when we first heard about that back in I think 2017, it was, I mean, it just what a downfall. I mean, they were making such great episodes in season 20, and I'm gonna just say, for those. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm going to just cut myself off because I just saw someone say, is Bachmann really doing Rebecca Nia? No, they are not. They are not. All right. And if they do, I'd be very, very shocked. Okay. That's all I'm going to say, especially with Bubba's a massive failure. Anyhow, going back to what I was saying, Bubba, I'm just surprised that, with how good the reception of season 20 was, that they just go down to Bubba. And for those parents who didn't like season 19, 20 because there were so many characters they didn't know about with their child, well, Bubba introduced even more, so that's number one. But number two, secondly, the problem was that season 20, I believe, was the last season that aired on PBS. And if I'm not mistaken, it was right after that PBS all of a sudden stopped airing Thomas. And because of that, I feel like there wasn't enough exposure. There wasn't enough exposure to these new episodes, and I know the merchandise lines probably weren't doing as well as they could have. It's just that everything has to be in sync. Back in the late model series when Hit had Thomas, when they announced seasons 9, 10, 11, Wooden Railway, for example, and Trackmaster Tommy, they were always on target with their announcements. Every single announcement made sense. They would announce, I remember 2008 when they announced Billy with Hector and Wooden Railway and Tommy Trackmaster. They came out at the right time. The timing was right. It was on PBS. Tons of kids were watching it. And, and it's just why just Mattel hasn't been on par with the timing. It's all about the timing, and the way they advertised it. Another thing could have also just been the CGI, I know, for me, for example, what attached me to Thomas was the model work, CGI. If Thomas was CGI from the start, I wouldn't be a Thomas fan today. I wouldn't, it just would have looked like an average show to me. But thoughts on 21? I do think 21 is actually somewhat underrated. Of course, there's a handful of episodes that just aren't good, Stuck in Gear. I think that's the one where Harvey goes into Henry's tunnel or one of the tunnels and tips over. I thought that was a little ridiculous, but I mean, I did think Terrence Breaks the Ice was a fantastic episode, along with the Daisy episodes, and there was a few other ones that were decent, I thought. Thoughts on 110? Well, we're not here to talk about classical music. So, yeah, for those of you who don't know, Rishi Ramsingh, he's my friend from college. But we're not going to talk about personal things on this live stream. This is my Thomas live stream, not my classical music live stream. So, that's that. But Beethoven 110, Opus 110, Piano Sonata, I'll just say very quickly for Thomas fans who like classical music, look it up. It's a gorgeous piano sonata. One of my favorites. That's it. Won't go any further than that. Do you think Bachmann should make Fergus, Whiff, and Stanley? So Whiff and Stanley, I see as possibilities for the future, especially since they've been seen in both model series and CGI. That helps, and they seem like affordable additions in terms of new tooling costs. Fergus, unfortunately, I don't think that they'd be able to pull off just because of his size and also just the flywheel. How on earth would they get that to work? So that's that. Thoughts on Bachmann's pricing? Yeah, I mean, inflation's always going to happen. Prices will go up. I am surprised though. For example, I think 2019 or 2018, all of a sudden, some of the prices went up by $10. That was excessive inflation, if you're asking me. But I mean, it all depends on the current stakes. It's interesting though. When you see that, the retail pricing of Daisy all of a sudden is only $149, and Peter Sam, I think it's only $139, whereas Paxton, which was announced in 2017 as a recolor, was $129, which was at the time much more expensive than Diesel, I think. So it's weird, because I was honestly expecting Daisy to be at least $179, $189, something like that. But I mean, who knows what caused that pricing? I mean, I don't mind it. Of course, cheaper prices are always better, but if Bachmann introduced Diesel 10, how much do you think he'd cost? Probably maybe $10 more than Daisy because of Pinchy. It all depends on Pinchy, if they had the claw to be able to manually open and close and move and swivel around, he would cost more money. But if he would just be a mounted piece, molded piece that was simplified, didn't have all the nicks and gears and all that other stuff, then I could see him being maybe even the same price as Daisy, maybe $5 more. But favorite repeated quote from the show? Hard to say. I don't know. That's a good one. Favorite repeated quote from the show. gonna have to think about that one, Train Fan 365. You have me torn on that. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. As a kid, I always loved Cinders and Ashes. I don't know. I like that, even though that was more of a hit era thing. But of course, like the Great Western, there's only two ways of doing things: the wrong way or the Great Western way. That's a good one too. But I guess like in general, just with the language, especially in the classic series, the way they incorporated more advanced vocabulary, I always appreciated. Like words like sagacious in Oliver Owns Up, and even like words like weary, like those aren't really, I guess, like kid friendly terms, like from Edward's Exploit, like battered, weary, but not beaten. Edward's steamed in, just things like that. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I didn't skip any questions. Again, if I did skip your question, just try to post it again so I don't miss it the second time. What about Henry in his old shape? I don't think that Bachmann would be able to pull that off, unfortunately. I mean, I think that there's actually an interview in which they stated that it's not something that they would do since it only appeared in one season. Now, like you're probably going to wonder, oh, well, they did the Spiteful Brake Van. That only appeared in one season. The difference, though, with that is that it was a tooling they already had in the line. They had the Brake Van tooling. The Spiteful Brake Van, they just had to make the face, recolor it, and that was that. With Henry, though, they have to retool the actual model, in terms of the shaping, and that would just be too much of a hassle, I think. Remember when Bachmann Thomas was only $50 in 2011? Now he's literally double that. I do. Crazy. I remember back in the day, I think I got my Thomas model for like $30 back in the day. Man, that was a long time ago. But no, a set date has not been announced for Daisy yet, unfortunately, but it will be some point in 2021. Do you have the Bachmann narrow gauge coaches? Actually, not yet, but I will definitely be getting 3 of each, without a doubt. How do I feel about season 25? Not excited. I mean, this whole revamp thing, as I've said before, not excited one bit. It's just, it's a slap in the face to the Reverend. It really is. Just the fact that Mattel doesn't give two shits. They have their heads up their asses. That's all I can say about that. Do you have the Hornby Dart? I don't. When is the Henry the Elephant remake coming out? As I stated before, probably around Christmas time, maybe a week later. We'll have to see. I like classical music as well. Mike O'Donnell actually said they got inspiration from classical music for the Thomas Nation music. Funnily, yeah, I can definitely sense that. Because their music, there's classical elements implemented. I do think there's a lot of jazz implemented in there as well. And yeah, I mean, I do think that like that's partly why I'm so attached to music too. That the Thomas Show has inspired me. Can we see an update, please? Let's see. Should Bachmann make the Circus train pack? Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be a good recolor. That's one of the few popular ones they haven't done, out of rolling stock recolors, the Circus train. That would be good. Hornby did write about that. Icho Winston, we'll have to see again. I think he's too small like Fergus. What is the best era of each toy line? Oh, that's another really good question to Logan Duck Thomas, fan number 1. You're asking very good questions. Let's see. So with Wooden Railway, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but actually with Wooden Railway, actually, no. I probably the 90s still. Wooden Railway, the late 90s was probably the best. But I was also going to say, even like when the first quote-unquote revamp happened, like in 2002 at Wooden Railway, when all the main cast looked different with bigger faces and everything, I was going to say, like, when they implemented like the roadway in Wooden Railway and all that, that actually I had no issue with because I grew up with it. And I thought, like, while a lot of the destinations and like, road vehicles, non-sentient, I guess, road vehicles they included in the Wooden Railway line were very arbitrary, it worked, like I at least for me, like I still collected all those buildings, and I don't know, just the learning curve era stuff. There's a big difference between that and like 2013 Mattel era stuff. While I do think that like some of the Mattel era stuff does look quite good in terms of the design, it's just the quality, just to me, it wasn't as good as learning curves. I guess that's what I'll say. But in terms of Tomy Trackmaster, it's hard to say because I never really collected that much of that line. Ertl, I mean, Ertl's always been good, pretty much for the most part. But I guess again, late 90s. I think in general, late 90s was probably the best of Thomas merchandise. Bachmann, Hornby, I'll talk about since I'm more familiar with those. But with Bachmann, I would probably say, I guess like I mean, it's hard to say because like I want to say like 2008, 2009, 2010 because we got such great announcements those years. But then again, can you guys see me? Hello? Am I back? Okay, great. Elspeth Production says I'm back. Yep, I'm lagging there. It's back. Okay, I'm back. Am I in sync? We see you. Yes, am I in sync? Okay, good. Okay, I want to make sure, guys. And I'm saving the stream is going to be interesting. I hope that it's able to upload for anyone who couldn't make it. Good. Yes, 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 yes. Good. You can hear me. Thank God. Okay. I was going to say, because I got a notice at the top of my screen saying my connection was unstable, and I just wanted to make sure you guys are with me. And it seems like everything is okay now. But let me know in the chat if I freeze again, guys. If I freeze again, or if it just shuts down on you, let me know. Like, just post in the chat that it happened, so I'm aware. And worst comes to worst, what we might do if it happens and then all of a sudden, let's say it just closes out, I'm going to just start a new stream, a second stream, and then just go on to that stream, I guess, if you're still going to tune in. So, great. If Bachmann were to put you in charge of the Thomas line, what are the first 3 new models, aka new toolings, would you announce? I would make Ryan, Hero, and Stephanie. Yeah, that's a good question. I think you're on par, man. Like, those are probably the 3 I would do too, because I mean, Stepney has gotten so much requests, so he's definitely one without a doubt. Ryan is one that would go really well with Daisy, and a lot of people have also requested him. Probably is the second most popular request, so I would say him. And then Hero too. Hero would just be an excellent addition to the line. Okay, if Tommy Train says it frees on me smiling, am I in sync right now though? Like right now, am I in sync? Just again, just say yes in the chat if I'm in sync. Excellent. Okay. Okay, guys. Thanks. I never want to leave you guys hanging. That's for sure. Thank you. Do you think they'll do Mighty Mac? Probably not. Probably not. But yeah, you guys have been asking me very, very good questions. Very good question. I've been enjoying this very much for the past hour. What do Bachmann making Hero or Billy? I don't think they'll make either. I mean, again, like Hero's too expensive, and Billy was pretty much a one-off. So, listen to the upcoming Bachmann, Thomas, and Friends release, Daisy, without a doubt. I mean, to me, it's Daisy. I mean, Peter Sam's also definitely up there, but I mean, just the fact that they announced Daisy after how much we requested her, and like that she's the first bogeyed diesel in the Thomas line, I just can't wait to see how they incorporate those moving eyes, and to see if she has transparent windows or I guess closed out windows will be interesting. I do hope if they give her closed windows, they're going to look kind of like the N scale Annie and Clarabelle windows, which are glazed in a little bit more of a darker color. Whereas the N scale, the HO like diesels, the silver glazed diesels, I think they're lighter, so it almost gives the illusion from far away that they're closed much more apparently. But with the N scale Annie and Clarabelle, if you're standing from far away and you see those windows, even though they're glazed at a dark color, they almost look like they're see-through, even though they're really not. So hopefully they'll do something like that with the Daisy if they have to resort to having them closed. I heard they will make CGI Daisy with model series style face. That would be, yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know how they would do that though. I heard a CGI Daisy with a model series style face, so I guess the face would be bigger. What would Peter Sam be like when he is released? Probably the CGI, look like the CGI model, just like all the other narrow gauge engines. If Bachmann doesn't launch it with their new which characters should Bachmann never make? Okay, which should Bachmann never make? All right, here we go. Nia and Rebecca for a start. The Logging Locos, Nia and Rebecca, the Logging Locos, those are givens. And pretty much just any of the international engines, like don't make those. Those would be so out of place. Just look ridiculous in the line, to a complete waste, if you ask me. Do you think Bachmann could do Norman? That's a possibility, but again, he's also more of a side character. You know, I think like asking Bachmann to do Norman is kind of like asking Bachmann to do Class 40. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like something they wouldn't do. So, Bachmann needs to do Duke. I agree. Favorite Thomas movie and also favorite movie of all time. Good question. So favorite Thomas movie is Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure. Although actually, my second favorite is probably Blue Mountain Mystery. I thought that was actually a very good movie, and how it started in the Never Cage Engines, and probably Miller's best writing, because I believe that was written by her, if I'm not mistaken. Great Discovery is great as well. I enjoyed that very much, especially since it involved the models. But movie of all time, like that's really hard, you know. As a kid, probably like Despicable Me. That was one of my favorites. Like when I just thought that was just such a good movie. But as an adult, hard to say. I mean, there's many good movies out there. I mean, this might sound kind of cheesy to some of you guys, but I like some of the old Rodgers and Hammerstein's movies, like The Sound of Music, Oklahoma, My Fair Lady. You know, movies like that. But I do also like action movies, like by Marvel. You know, those kinds of movies too. Joker recently was a fantastic movie too. Like I love Joker very much. But oh, Andrew Brenner wrote Blue Mountain Mystery. I didn't know that. Wow. Well, no wonder it was so good. What did I miss? Is it still 2020? Can I borrow? If only, Corey. If only. I mean, I would donate $50. I would. And yes, it is still 2020. Unfortunately. But I'm glad that you're back. Do I like The Great Discovery? Yes. It's definitely probably my top 5 Thomas specials. Again, the model work was great. I liked Stanley. I liked Great Waterton, the focus on that. Brenner didn't write it. He may have, going back to Blue Mountain Mystery, Brenner didn't write it. I'll have to look. Oh, okay, the script editor. I'm sorry, I misread that. I thought you said that he wrote it. But yeah, Blue Mountain Mystery though has to be one of the best specials. Okay, sorry, Rishi Ramsing with the inside jokes. I can't. Absolutely, Bachmann should do Sir Handel and Duncan. Yes, it's bound to happen. It will probably happen. It's just a question of time. You know, when will it happen? Favorite Thomas song? Probably. I mean, I love the Red Balloon. Especially as I got older, I love the beauty of that song. But I mean, Accidents Will Happen. That's such a good song too. You know, that really got me hyped up as a kid, as well as It's Great to Be an Engine. A lot of the season 5 songs. You know, those ones. Awesome chair you got there. You mean the fold up one? I mean, I use that when I'm working on my layout and I can't reach over and just for things, you know. So Bachmann making railway series characters, probably not going to happen. I mean, I'd be very surprised if they do, but if they were to do that, the first one I would actually make is Wilbert. I think Wilbert or 16 would be pretty cool to see. What are your thoughts on Bachmann UK letting the announcements of large scale Paxton slip out the back door? Yeah, I did see that. I witnessed that so clearly. It's pretty clear to me that he's going to be the next large scale announcement. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he's like the last large scale engine they announced, especially since there's now much more of a focus for N scale and wholly different scale. But I mean, I don't really know what to make of it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets announced in February, along with hopefully the Red Branch line coaches in large scale, because those would be brilliant additions. I could have been an accident for. Okay, I don't average Thomas fan. I don't know what you mean by that, but okay. The moment Thomas is looking behind you, do you think Bachmann should make a viaduct season 1 style? It would be cool, especially if it's made out of resin. It's just probably not going to happen. You know, that's all I can say to that. Favorite Troublesome truck face? Oh, that's a good one. I mean, you know, while I'm at it, just give me one moment because I'm gonna grab my favorite truck. One moment. And I am back. So for whatever reason, I cannot find the exact truck for whatever reason, but it's this same. It's not this face actually. It's this. Even though I do like this face as well, it's this. It's the classic, a closed Schaefer duck face. You know, the big one. That's probably my favorite Troublesome truck face. Just so iconic. And it's funny. That had to be like the most highly requested Troublesome truck that people wanted Bachmann to make ever since Troublesome Truck 3 was announced back in 2010. But it's funny because they did like every other thing except that. But I think it's probably because the old vans were based on, you know, the what do they call, like the L&B narrow gauge box vans or whatever, which are taller and out of scale. So that was probably why they never made that. Any advice for you for any beginners? I guess beginning a model railway. So yeah, I guess like the main thing is have a great imagination. Imagine like what the locations are you want to recreate or just create, and really make sure that you're thinking wisely in terms of the space you have. You know, like don't try to cram in too much. And be especially mindful for the curves. You know, the curves, especially if you're someone who's so used to working with Wooden Railway or Trackmaster or any of the toy lines with those sharp curves, you're going to see like, even though, the Bachmann models, they could probably do like, you could do a curve in this amount of space, but that's not the case, you know, because the Bachmann models, as I said before, while they are the same size, roughly the same size in HO, the curves in model railways are much more gentle. So those are all things to consider. That's something very important to consider when constructing a model railway from the beginning. I hope Bachmann will make Gordon and Edward in N scale. That would be fantastic. Do you think Bachmann will make Duncan? If so, what do you think he'll look like? I do think Bachmann will eventually make Duncan. I do think Sir Handel is going to come first though, after Peter Sam. But if they do make him, I feel like here's the thing. I feel like if us fans don't say anything, don't put it out on Twitter or on the forum, they're going to just make him as close to CGI as possible. However, if we jump in and we say, use the measurements from Douglas, his basis, and then use the CGI face and paint him in the CGI color scheme or whatever, then they'll do that. So I feel like, I don't think he's going to be based on the model series. We can probably rule that out. But if he can somehow be based on the CGI proportions with us fans, you know, pushing for that, then I'd be all for it. And the reason why I know this works is that you look at the narrow gauge coaches. I was one of the people on the forum constantly, repeatedly, you know, to the point where it just got so excessive, repeatedly saying, I hope the toolings will be, I hope the narrow gauge coaches will be made in 2 different toolings, considering in the model series, the red coach was based on coach 1 to 2 or coach number 3, and the blue coach was based on coach number 4. And then Bachmann came through because they had the measurements. So as a result, I think that they could pull off the same thing with Duncan. Now, then you'll say like, oh, with Rusty, though, that wasn't the case. And that's true. But that's because with Rusty, his basis is so different, you know, in terms of the shaping, to the point where like I feel like kids who aren't as familiar with the real life basis are going to look at that and be like, that doesn't look like Rusty. But in Duncan's case, the shapes are all the same. It's just the proportions are all out of whack with the CGI model. And that's why I think that if we push for like having the proportions like the coaches based on the real life basis instead of the you know, the awful CGI render, it would be a possibility that they could do that. So, can you eat Bachmann Scarlowi? No, I will not eat Bachmann. I will not eat Bachmann Scarlowi. Do you think Bachmann should make Fergus, Whip, and Stanley? I answered that question already, Rishi. So. Bachmann Rusty is honestly yeah. He is. They again, like they in terms of size, they scaled him to his real life basis, but the proportions or the shapes rather were based on the CGI render. That's the thing. Word from the wise: the wider the curves, the better, especially in large scale. Absolutely, yeah, and that goes for any scale. You know, like in HO2, like I would much rather run my Thomas and Emily, or even Emily's actually a really good example because she's like a medium-sized engine who could navigate, you know, 18 degrees curves, but she runs much better on 20, 22 or 24 inch radius curves, you know, without a doubt. The gentler, the better, always. What do you think Bachmann can Den and Dart? Again, probably not going to happen unless there's great demand for them. That's all I can say. First Unlucky Talk eats then Terrence eats a Scarloey. Not happening. No, not happening. Let's see. What are some other questions up here that I missed before? Any other locations you prefer from the Railway series over the TV series one? Example is Knapford and Knapford Harbor. Let's see. So any other locations prefer from the Railway series? I would say maybe Knapford Harbor actually is a good one. I would probably agree with that one. It's hard to say because like I'm more of a TV series guy, not as much of a Railway series guy. So Knapford Harbor is one I remember pretty well. All the other ones, not so much. So that's all I can really say for that question. Do you think Class 47 should be in Thomas? That would be interesting to see. I mean, if they could pull off an interesting persona for it and then tie it in with the other diesels. Yeah, Soldier Production. I did see your post on Duncan, and hopefully that will pull through. You know, once they get to announcing him. Would you ever try to work at Bachmann? If only. I mean, I it doesn't seem likely. You know, like if they could somehow make me like the Thomas manager, that would be amazing. But like, it's not gonna happen. It's a pipe dream. But and besides, like, there's other things I love in my life, such as music. You know, as I've already expressed to you guys. So I don't think I'd want just working for a model train company to be like my main occupation. You know, so. What do you think about making more troublesome trucks? I think it's possible. You know, like so far they've been on like a 3-year rule where it's like 2010 they announced truck number 3, 2013 truck number 4, 2016 truck 6, and then now 2016 truck number 5, and then 2019 truck number 6. So based on that schedule, 2022 they should announce truck number 7. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they stop at 6, honestly, because it's kind of weird. It'd be interesting to see 7 troublesome trucks, but like, I mean, when are they going to stop? You know, it makes you kind of wonder. Let's see. Trying to catch up with your questions here, guys. That would be incredible if I could meet Britt Alcroft in person. Absolutely incredible, but who knows when or if I could have even that kind of opportunity, you know. But let's see. I've gotten into collecting H.O. Thomas. I have Thomas and Emily so far. Which engine should I get next? Thomas and Emily. So you have okay. Yeah, I mean, if you could get like Gordon or Henry, like that'd be pretty neat. But if you're more interested in like a smaller engine, I would get Duck. Duck is just such a great model, you know. Then what would I like as my main occupation? Well, I mean, based on my college major as a music professor, you know, at a college university, hopefully teaching piano or music theory or music history. But if I'm in the public schools, I'd be an orchestra teacher or a chorus teacher, one of those. You know. Favorite TV show aside from Thomas? It's a hard one. I mean, I like a lot of science shows like Nova. I don't know if you guys watch Nova on PBS. It's kind of, I know it sounds kind of nerdy, but I'm very interested. I like those kinds of shows. And then as for like entertainment shows, I kind of like the Big Bang Theory. Every so often I watch that. It does make me cringe at times, but it is kind of funny, so I watch it. What's your favorite location on Sodor? Probably the fishing village from season 5. It's just such a memorable location, and I just think it's gorgeous. So, favorite narrow gauge episode? It's a hard one. I always loved the Duke episode, so it's probably one of those. Maybe like Bulldog or You Can't Win. One of those. Yeah, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. No way, I'm a music education major. What's your primary? I'm a pianist, LJ Jake. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm a piano performance and education major. Yeah, and that's why I hope to teach hopefully at a college or university where I could focus solely on that, because in the public schools I wouldn't really have that kind of opportunity, you know. But I'm keeping both options open since finding a job in music to begin with is so hard. So we'll have to see. Do you think the reboot will? I don't. They made it clear on Twitter. Bachmann made it clear on Twitter that the reboot will not affect future releases, which is excellent. So thank God for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to probably in like within the next 5 minutes or so, I'll stop talking for once and show you guys the layout, because I'm sure you guys want to see that too. I mean, I could sit here all night and answer questions for you guys too, but I know at some point, like, you guys are probably going to want to like turn the page and do something else, do something a little bit different. But the open narrow gauge screen coaches, I agree. Yeah, those would be fantastic. Shed 17 or Bachmann. Well, I guess Bachmann, because it won't give me nightmares. So Bachmann. How's your family? My family's well. I mean, thankfully, like, we've been taking this pandemic very seriously. You know, none of us tested positive for COVID. Whenever we go out in public, we wear a mask. And look, guys, you know, just to digress away from Thomas for a sec, like, no matter what your political affiliation is, taking COVID seriously, that's not a political issue. It's just common sense. Go out there, you know, care for others, wear a mask, don't make fun of the issue, you know, because it's really not, when you consider how many people have died in this country, it's really not it's something to make fun of, you know. So, not to be a Mr. Goody Two Shoes. So, wear a mask, absolutely. Wear a mask. Take precautions here. Social distance as much as possible. And that's another reason why I'm glad that, you know, Trump's out of there. You know, because he just the guy threatened to fire Fauci. You know, one of the experts. You know, one of the main experts in our country. Like, just the fact that he had the audacity to say such a thing. Like, after how much Fauci has done, and like, you're going to say that, you know, and that's why I'm. It's the final nail in the coffin for me. You know. Mr. Goody Two Shoes, please eat Scarlowe. No. But let's see. What do you think about Tiger Moth? I liked him. He was, again, kind of a one-off. Only appeared in Top Matt's Holiday for the most part. But I like him. Favorite season 8 episode? Hard to say. Probably maybe like Halloween. Halloween was a pretty good season 8 episode. How big is the layout? 16 feet by 15 feet, plus that extension. But when you consider the fact that Nafford Station, is on a diagonal, that narrow gauge extension kind of like takes up like that extra corner that Nafford like doesn't go all the way out to. So that's why it's still kind of 16 by 15, you know. Okay. Thoughts on Bob the Builder? I watched it a lot as a kid, not so much anymore. I did think that it was also one of the shows I liked more because it utilized models or props. So anything that was, you know, that was actually filmed physically, I always found more appealing as a kid. Would you recommend investing in the narrow gauge crew from the Thomas and Friends line? I have a few backgrounds. Sure. Absolutely, Hank American Engine. I would definitely recommend purchasing the narrow gauge items. They are fantastic models. Scarlowe Renee's. I don't have Rusty yet, but I've heard great things about him. And definitely those narrow gauge coaches. I mean, they look outstanding, if you ask me. It's perfect as they could have gone. Sorry, I'm laughing. Just this man, Rishi. Bob is the CEO of Bachmann. Yeah, okay. How much is too much for the white-faced troublesome truck? Well, I guess that's really a subjective question. It's really up to you. I guess for me, I wouldn't pay. This is going to sound kind of stupid, but I wouldn't pay more than $100 for that, because, like, in fact, I wouldn't pay more than $50 for that, because I'm not really a wooden rally guy, but for an avid wooden rally guy, I think that that's just your call. You know, if you want to pay over 100, then pay over 100. You know. Do you like the Beatles? I do. I think the Beatles are great. Of course, especially Ringo for obvious reasons. Terrence, check it out. Bachmann Scarlow, HON 30 scale. See, fits in my mouth. Okay. How do you think George Carlin would have narrated it? That would have been interesting to see. I mean, granted, I did like Baldwin's narration in season 5 very much too. But it would have been interesting to see Carlin narrate like episodes like Haunted Henry and Rusty and the Boulder. Like, how would have that changed like the impression of those episodes, you know? Favorite Thomas narrator? George Carlin. Easily. But yeah, I think that we'll take a break from questions. We'll take a break from questions now. And I'll give you guys a little tour. I'm going to try my best to lift this. Again, I have my laptop and I have my microphone. It'll be a little hard, but we'll see how this works. Okay, so just give me a sec. Just one sec. All right. Slowly, because what I don't want is for like the footage to get all blurry out of nowhere. And again, now that I'm moving, guys, this is the first time doing a live stream. Let me know if all of a sudden the let me know if the like audio just like cut out, or like again if I froze now that I'm moving on 2 feet. Just write yes in the chat if you can still hear me, and write yeah, and also write it if you can hear me and if everything is still clear to you. So okay, so I'm saying yeses so far, so that's good. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of like give you guys, again, this is a very informal tour of the layout. Nothing much has changed, but I'm gonna try my best to walk around here. Okay. Again, this is hard because like I'm using my laptop here, and I'm just kind of, I'm gonna see if I can. All right, try to see if I can do that. There. So again, like nothing has really changed here, as you can see, but just walk up to here, and I'm moving slowly because again, I don't want the footage to get all dodgy. All right. And here's the coast with our favorite #1 engine, Thomas. And the fishing village. But most importantly, you guys should probably see the new extension, since that's where I've been working. Now, first thing you'll notice, actually, I shortened the mountain here. And let me just really quickly pop this down, make this lower. Okay. So the mountain is shorter, and there's HO tracks that I glued here. I did decide at the end of the day that I actually am going to put dryer there. I know some of you guys were against that or gave me other suggestions. The reason why I actually ended up going with that decision is that I realized that there was actually a way in which I could put it in there to make it work. And then furthermore, I wouldn't have to like wait like another like forever to buy more narrow gauge stuff to put in like all these other locations. And granted, there are enough locations for me to put all the narrow gauge products already. And so while with HO there's not, why not put like a station here where I can at least like put the engines and then use another station dryer for the Sodor series. And once again, I can promise you guys that once it's all scenic, it will all blend in and it won't look as awkward as it seems at the moment. But that's why I ended up going with that decision. So yes, the plow bender before, that was the Volmer shed. I'm just looking through the chat here. Scarlowi or Scarlatti? God. Hard to say. Depends on my mood. I mean, if I'm feeling Thomas, Scarlowi. If I'm feeling music, Scarlatti. That's all I'll say. They're both equally good. But yeah, nothing much has changed. Just the mountains have gotten smaller, and the HO tracks are glued in. And now I'm just working on the scenery here. and the rock molds for that. And then once the rock molds are implemented, then I can start painting and making it look much more realistic with paint and grass and bushes and etc. So, but that's really it, guys. Nothing much else to show you guys. I can try to kind of like do this. You can see another view of the middle, but that is that. And put this back here. All right. And we're back where we began. Sort of. To kind of adjust this. My stand is not straight. Okay. So now that I'm sitting, put a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, I have a feeling that this is lagging a lot. Great. Okay, good. So now we're back. I can tell that I'm probably like maybe 10 to 20 seconds ahead of you guys because like I end up like waiting longer because like the chat is behind the footage, if that makes sense, I guess. So, but let me see what other questions you guys had before the yes. How long have I been wearing glasses? Oh, as long as I can remember. I mean, I think I was 8 or 9 when I got my first prescription. Yeah, I mean, it really comes from my mother's side because she's almost blind. It is what it is. I'll probably get laser surgery in the future, but as of now, I'm fine with wearing glasses. Percy's kind of cute when he's angry. Yeah, I guess. What is something that someone should keep in mind when making their own layout? So again, just keep in mind like what locations you want to implement and what, how much space you have, and what the configuration is going to be. Like, do you want loops? Do you want figure eights? Do you want mountains? Do you want water? Like, those are all things you have to think about, you know, and really measure out the space you have so that it looks realistic, you know. Had one of those myself. Rob the Red and was asking me about it, and he's currently like one. Yeah, I remember like back in the day. I remember you had one through the Thompson line channel, the Volma Roundhouse. Let's see. Looks like you guys are back again. I'm just trying to answer any other questions. Any other Bachmann Europe engines rolling stock would you want to add to your collection and layout? Maybe like one more of the pillbox brake vans would be nice. Maybe like some more like vent vans, because like the ones that are more accurate than like the Bachmann Thomas ones. And okay, there we go. And here's oh yeah, by the way, a shout out. The doctor just posted something. A shout out to Delmar's Thomas Comedies. I'm working with that he's working with. He asked me like if I could just shout out that real quick. Since he's working with me on the Sodor series, I figured I'd help him out on that. So if you guys don't know Delmar, go check him out. Go check out the comedies if you haven't. And yeah, so Bachmann, Stepney, and Boca would be missing. I absolutely agree. Finish off the classics. What is one of the worst Bachmann Thomas items? Definitely the Bachmann James. Even now, I mean, it was just a very poorly weighted model, I think, and it just never really ran as smoothly as it could have. I think that the new model runs more smoothly, but they still never fixed that one black bit by the, I don't know if it's the smoke box, whatever part it is. So Bear 711 Knuckles, Top Gus Fat. Absolutely, yeah. And that's what inspired me to buy it, Paul Bender. That's what inspired me to get that Volma Roundhouse back in 2011. It was those people, you know, it was you, Bear, those 4 people you exactly listed. Bear 7101, who's now Forest Engine Productions, Knuckles or Sparkshot, Top Gus Fat, and you. And when you were on the Thompson Line channel, those were the 4 people. And then I looked at that, I was like, wow, how accurate, especially like the doors. Those are the first thing that attracted me, you know. And I was like, I just have to get that. It looks so accurate, even more, and that's why I did. Best place to get materials for modeling? Hard to say. I mean, like, it depends on what you're looking for. That's all I can say. But I guess eBay is always great. Amazon's great. Where I live, I like to go to Train World because I live on Long Island, so stop in there and buy some things. But for Hornby, I guess like UK sites, you know, look on Google, see what you can find. Let's see. What Thomas and Friends vehicle should Bachmann do? I would love to see them do Trevor if they could. I mean, just to finish off all the non-rail characters from seasons 1 and 2. But I mean, I just don't know, like, if the tooling is just too expensive or complicated for them to produce. Like, that could be it. So, again, that's just something for the future. It was interesting to see on Twitter, Trevor got acknowledged, just, I think, maybe, what was it, a week ago or a few days ago? So, Trevor for large scale 2021 now. Now, if they did that, I would probably shit my pants. Like, I'm not going to lie. That would be pretty epic to see Trevor in large scale. So. For Trevor for large scale. Oh man, if only. Slight calling model train stuff. Yeah, that's true. Model train stuff does have really great prices as well that are very, very cheap. And another site is Nicholas Smith Trains. If you guys know that site, they have very good prices. Star Hobby is another one, and of course Train World, as I mentioned. These are all sites that are very good when purchasing Bachmann Thomas products. So, what Bachmann vehicle I stated? Let's see. What happens if someone steals your models? I kill them. No, I'm joking. I wouldn't. But I would. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So, what are some Canadian Bachmann Thomas products? Well, Canada, Bachmann Thomas is not Canadian, so I don't really understand what you mean by that question. What should do? We'll see about that. Yeah, we'll see about. Okay. I'll hold you accountable to that, Rishi. Let's see you come into my house and take my models. You won't do that. So, if Bachmann made better Thomas faces as accurate to the show, what would be your reaction? Well, it depends. If they're CGI, I wouldn't really care because I'm not really into CGI. But if there were model series faces, I would be very interested. Are you going to bite Daisy when she is released? Absolutely, yeah. Like, Dan, the 25 minutes. It's great to see you in this chat, by the way. You're like the 4th person who asked me that tonight. Like, yeah, like I'm absolutely going to get Bachmann Daisy. Who's not? Like, come on. Rishi is the best Thomas user. Yes, he's definitely the best Thomas user. He's definitely the guy, the one guy who actually knows about Thomas out of everyone else in this chat. Talk about sarcasm. So, what about George? What about George the Steamroller for Bachmann? I'd love it. I just don't think that he would happen unless they did Trevor first. I might not get Bachmann Daisy, honestly, not too keen on the CGI design. Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, the CGI design for one is smaller. It's also the face is smaller, so we'll just have to see. You actually didn't expect a face reveal. Well, here it is. I mean, I actually revealed my face like back in January when I had some friends come over, but here's my face. Yeah, this is what I look like. Sorry, I mean, where can I buy Bachmann Thomas parts in Canada? Oh, well, there was this one place, there was this one place called Model Railway Imports. But I think the site either closed down or they went out of business. Something happened to them. That's the only site that I remember from Canada. All the other sites I'm not that familiar with. But he's MPS, but from the island. Yeah, I'm not MPS, but thanks. CGI design gets a lot of praise. Have I seen Anime Music? Not familiar with what Anime Music is. TrainFan365. I'm not familiar with it, but I'll look into that and I'll let you know. How about this, guys? You guys have been asking me so many questions, and I feel guilty for just answering your questions. How about I ask you guys some questions now, and you guys can post answers in the chat, and we can spend, I guess it'll depend on the question itself, but let's say like 30 seconds to a minute on a question. So, what do you think? What would you like to see Bachmann produce in the future? That's my first question, as someone who loves Bachmann. Yeah, these are all great suggestions. Great, yeah, absolutely. So I've seen mostly classic suggestions with a few popular CGI suggestions, such as Ryan. I absolutely agree. Like it's all going to depend on cost, as we all know. Like and timing when will Bachmann get around to producing these? So how about another question? What is trying to think of another good question. Okay, what is your favorite? What is your? Okay, sorry, just laughing at something completely out of topic. What is your favorite? What is your favorite season from the show? And if you can give an explanation as to why that is your favorite season, please do. Okay, Ben Reyes, have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. But season 5, season 2, season 20, season 3, season 5, yeah. God. The sarcasm, average Thomas fan, the sarcasm really gets to me, I gotta tell you. God, for you to just put 22 to 24, like that's just seeing that is making me cringe. Just hope you know that. Interesting. Season 7. Yeah. Seeing a lot of season 2, season 5. Agree. Terrence soon died of cringe and other stories. Like I'll tell you what. If Bachmann here, I'll make a claim right now. All right, to well, who is it? A Junction. Who just made that statement? Terrence cringes and other stories. Okay, the Northwesterner. Okay, I'll make a deal with you. If Bachmann announces Nia and or Rebecca, I will make a whole separate video series of me, and it will be titled "Terrence Soon Died of Cringe and Other Stories," and I will actually make episodes with that as like the title of the series. If Bachmann announces Nia and Rebecca, hold me accountable to that. Hold me accountable to that. Please do that. Yeah, I'll take any help I can get. Any help I can get. Oh my god, no, please don't. Because a junction malfunction, if not only if you do that, not only will that cause like a huge Twitter war, but that will also like I don't know. Yeah, it's just gonna cause all this unnecessary drama. But you know what? Do what you want to do. You can hold me accountable to that. If you really want to see Terrence, I don't even know what the title was of your series. You can copy and paste it. But like I'm telling you, if Bachmann does announce Nia and or Rebecca, just one of them, honestly, just one, Nia or Rebecca, at least one of them, I will make a series of at least 3 episodes with that title. I will. Okay. Hey, I never know if you guys are being literal or not. So, but okay. Okay, I'm trying to think of at least one more good question. If you could go back to the Brenner era, and incorporate just one more classic character, who would it be and why? So I see Boko, Duke, Stepney, or adapt the mountain engines. Like that would be great. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with Duke, though. You know, would the brass band? Wait, didn't the brass band I think already returned though? I think in King of the Railway, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, these are all. I agree. The locals can go to hell, man. Yeah, I agree. It would suit his grace. Absolutely. George. Actually, I agree. Actually, but George would probably be in my top 3 as well. I would love to bring back George, and like to see like a whole nother rivalry with Sir Handel. Like that would actually be fantastic to see. And it's things like that, you know, like if I could go back to the Bren era, I would also have made changes like with some of the episodes, like make an episode with Duck and Diesel. Like we haven't seen that in forever. That would have been terrific to see. And I was also thinking, like, if they did bring back, for example, Boko, I would love to see them give him the treatment that they gave Daisy, maybe serving as a mentor almost like to Philip, you know. And since now Philip, I think, works on Edward's branch line, and Boko would be working alongside with him. It just there are so many possibilities, you know. Stepney kills the Locking Locos and other stories. That would be interesting. Man, would get a lot of smiles out of that. Yeah, the Doctor. I think I did really bring up, but I'm gonna try to I'm gonna experiment with that, the Doctor Logos, sharing the George lines, because again, this is my first live stream, and I just don't want to like open up a tab or like share my screen or whatever. Again, I don't really know what I can do with this. So maybe for like the next live stream I do in the future, I'll try to see if I can maybe share my screen and show some things. So we'll see. People have brought up Boko doesn't serve. That's true, but I think that Paul Bender, that is true. But I think that Boko could still serve other roles. You know, like I said, like perhaps like being a proper mentor to Philip, so he's not an annoying, you know, FUCK. So go Philip. Yeah, that's true. He works at Knapford, and then he works at Knapford, and then he lives at Wellsworth. It's strange. What's your favorite Thomas fan series? I don't think I have a favorite, but it's probably one of the classics, you know, one of the ones from pre-2010. In fact, one of the guys is here right now, Corey Thompson Line or Plowbender. He had his Railway Adventures on Sodor was definitely one of my favorites back in the day, along with Bear 7101. A lot of these series were somewhat short-lived, you know, like they spanned within like 3, 4, 5 episodes, but they utilized model trains, and that's what made them very special, you know. But of course, Spark Shot series, Gavin Rose, The Railways of Sodor was brilliant, as well as the very, very classic Captain Punjab. Like, he's brilliant. There was also another guy, Combine Harvester 001. Maybe that rings a bell. Thomas the Model series. And then Henry Blue, absolutely, Henry Blue. And there was also there was of course also Miss Oliver and Blossom. There was Train Boy 7, I think. And who else was there? Oh, there was also Dan Snell. He had a few series before even entering the Sacred Wolfie channel in, I think, 2011. There was like Adventures on Sodor. That was a brilliant series. Yeah, I agree. Funniest Miss Oliver and Blossom moment? Oh, it's hard to say. There's so many. So many. Harvester, Bear 7101. Who else was there? Of course, Top Goes Fat was pre-2010 back in the day. And it's funny because I wasn't. I was there. I witnessed all this as a young kid, but I didn't have a YouTube account, so none of them knew me. But yes, I did watch Rob the Red Engine's remakes. They were brilliant too. I'm trying to think of who else. I guess those were the main ones, right? Right. So during Conflict, Turtles and Thomas' series is brilliant, but that was newer. You know, that was after like what 2013, 2014. That was like 2014, 2015. So it was fairly recent. You know, of course, the Railways of Sodor, as I mentioned, Gavin Rose's series. That's classic beyond belief. You know. Enterprising Engines, of course. To this day, he's producing just constant quality content. He never runs out of great ideas. It's just amazing. Oh, of course. How could I forget Leo Kim Video, Mad Bomber? I remember seeing that at such a young age, and it might have been like the second release, because like I think it got taken down and then he uploaded a different one, something like that. It's the one, you know, like where Thomas is. The opening shot is Thomas, you know, going into the shed and it explodes with ND Diesel or Class 40, whatever you want to call him, you know, with the wide eyes, like, oh no, whatever. And yeah, that I really got a kick out of that as a kid. In fact, another one was this is another guy only produced one episode. I think it was like Bulgy 13. It was called Thomas Blows His Stack. Maybe like some of you guys remember that episode. So that was a great one back in the day. Yeah, agreed. I've not seen Victor Tenzik's Stories of Sodor. Is that's one of the train series, right? It's one of the animated ones. Because I'll have to look into that one. Sodor Dark Times. I've seen that. Yeah, Sodor Dark Times. I have seen. That's the one with what's his name? Not Reginald. Is it Alfred? Alfred was the evil engine, right? Alfred, I think. Yes, I've seen Richard the New Engine. That was brilliant. Absolutely. I remember train number 476 told me stuff too. Absolutely. Yeah, this is great, guys. Like, I appreciate everyone who's engaging in the chat right now. Because right now I'm kind of just taking a break, I guess, from rambling after a lot, but British Railway series. You know, it's funny. I actually never saw the British Railway series. I think that was Simon Martin's series, right? So I'll have to look into that. Right. Cam Scott had a bunch of remakes back in the day. I remember I saw like he had like some Hornby remakes and Wooden Railway remakes. Yeah, he is old. He's old school. Of course, Turtles, Ertls, that's present day. Yeah, of course. Favorite narrator, as I mentioned before, George Carlin, no doubt. No doubt. Yes, I've seen Diesel D199's Tomika Thomas shorts. All of them, yes. Oh, there's actually another guy. I don't know if you guys remember this guy. His name was Cactus190706. I don't know if you guys know him, but he had probably like the most like interesting episodes, because like there was like this one Boko episode he had in particular, and like he would go into like the backstories of how these engines arrived on Sodor, and just really creative ideas that made so much sense. I mean, and I know like the series is now over. I think like the last special he had was the one with Diesel 10 and Lady, like the Sodor's Forgotten Branch line. But yeah, he had incredible episodes. He was constantly uploading too. Like he just never ran out of ideas. I was amazed. Absolutely. A Bluebell 59's remake, 5529's remakes are fantastic. Absolutely. Do I know Tugs? Of course. Yeah, I've seen all 13 episodes of Tugs. Absolutely. Cactus is very nostalgic. Steven the Boss, I already did an informal layout tour before. What I might do is like maybe at the very end go into the middle and show you guys like the middle portion, which I didn't really do before, but we'll see. I'm just enjoying the conversation, guys. Again, this is the first live stream I've ever done, and I appreciate you guys engaging in this. Favorite Tugs episode? I'm not sure. Maybe probably Munitions. Project G1. I do remember Salty Fan 12. I do. I think he just like left out of nowhere from what I remember. Yeah. So 12. Probably, yeah. Spacey Boy. If there were HO scale toys of Tugs, yeah, I would probably buy like a 10 cents and a Sunshine and put them on the because they would probably blend in relatively nicely, you know. We told them what the status of episode. Good point. So the doctor just mentioned like the status of episode 9 that we're working on. So the episode is still currently in the filming process, but what I'm planning for is a January release, probably mid to late, but the wait should be worth it. If you guys notice, like I want to say like at least 5 of you addressed this in the sneak peek, but Donald's cab roof, which you could probably see has a small chip, and so as a result for Christmas I'm buying a new body shell, gonna unscrew the old one and then install the new one, and then the old one what I'm gonna do is just paint it over like a scrap model and then just fit over by Brendan Docks, and that way nothing's wasted, so it works out in the end. Any recommendations how to get a Hornby Stepney? Just keep on fighting on eBay. That's all I gotta say. Just look hard every day when you wake up in the morning or come home from work or from school. Just go into eBay, ebay.co.uk, and look up Hornby Stepney and just see like if there's any good deals. Because sometimes you'll be surprised. Great deals just pop up out of nowhere. You'd be shocked. Yes. Another, yeah, Paul Leo, that's right. Scarlowy fan was a fantastic modeler as well. Yeah, I remember like every if I'm not mistaken, every month like he would post an update video of like projects he was working on. Like I remember that. Who was my YouTube inspiration? Basically all the classics, you know, like all the pre-2010 people I was talking about before. Sparkshot, Captain Punjab, Combine Harvester 01, Thompson Line, who might still be here now, Bear 7101, Miss Oliver and Blossom. Guy actually, okay. Trying to comprehend what was just did in the chat, but okay. Take the nameplates off before painting over. Yeah, guys. Any other questions? Like, so when Peter Sam comes out in Bachmann, you're gonna get it? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Which Bachmann model is better? I mean, like, it's hard to say. I mean, like, probably the Red Rosie was a better release just because, you know, she was like a completely different livery, whereas Grumpy Diesel was just the face change. But I mean, I think Diesel's model is probably better because it's pretty much on par, like in terms of proportions. It's exactly like the prop. The Rosie model, on the other hand, I think is, as I said before, is slightly too long. You know. I have no idea. Logan Duff and Toby and Stepney, like they disappeared out of nowhere. I don't know what happened to them. What hit error character would you get if they made? What hacker would you get? Okay, good question. No, the Northwesterner. You know, honestly, like this is gonna sound so bizarre, and it's very unlikely that they would do this. But if I could just pick one hit error character for Bachmann to do, I would choose Molly, and and there's a few reasons why. Like Molly, for one, she's a tender engine, but she's a smaller tender engine with no complex sidewalk configuration, so she fits the budget in terms of new toolings. And then she's a tender engine, so which we haven't gotten in a long time. She's also a yellow tender engine, so in terms of color scheme, she would add some contrast to the line, much like, you know, the other yellow abomination, Rebecca. But the difference is that Molly has an interesting persona. That's the main difference. She also, of course, she appeared in the model series, so I'm biased in that sense, but she also has a very shy and insecure persona that I really feel like I could, like the Doctor and I could work on interesting episodes, and build on the Sodor series. I would also love to address, what would happen if like Emily and Molly had like some kind of rivalry, because that was kind of stated in Molly's debut episode, Molly's special. But then like they never like built off of that. Molly never really had a starring role after that. And it was like you had Thomas like puffing to Maithwaite in that episode, and like she's like, oh, like Molly has this special, and Emily's like, ooh, and it's like nothing ever happened. It's like that doesn't happen in reality, right? Like if someone makes fun of you, like there's going to be some kind of bitter beef going on between the two of you. So, but yeah, Mighty Mac would also be a fun one. Absolutely, but I do think that Molly would probably be my number one pick if I could pick any hit era character to enter the Bachmann line. And as I've stated, I think I said this before, but if I didn't, like it's amazing that nowadays, in terms of quality Thomas merchandise, we've just got Bachmann and the Japanese brands. When you really think about it, it's literally just Bachmann, Plarell, I guess Diet Pet, even though Diet Pet's pretty much kind of fading away too. And that's about it. Like all the other merchandise lines are gone. Absolutely, I agree, Corey. Molly got the sword end of the stick. Character who had potential but tossed her aside and brought in some other character we didn't need. Yeah, I agree. It's a shame because it's like you should always keep the character with the best story potential. Of course, we have to think about marketing, toys as well. So that's just part of the game. Yeah, I would love to see Fergus. I would really love that, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. Would I rather Bachmann recreate Duke or Boko? Probably Duke, just because Boko is a pretty easy custom I could do on my own if I really had to. Whereas Duke would be a little more involved, with the nameplates and everything. But Boko, it's just you have the white top. You have just one piece, for example. You have the white roof, the green side, the green body shell, and then the 3D printed face, so it's really not too challenging when you think about it. Great Thomas stories. Oh, well, there's so many. Again, seasons 3, 4, 5, just the classic series in general. Have you ever thought of recreating Audrey's Thomas models? Probably not, because again, I told you I'm not really much of a railway series guy. I'm more of a TV series guy. So everything I try to recreate is pretty much just from the show itself. Okay, Flying TARDIS, thanks for tuning in. Wow, 4:20 a.m. Wow, thank you guys for tuning in. I know some of you guys like who live overseas in the UK, for instance. Like, man, I salute to you. Like that you've actually like stayed on for this long. Thank you. Sleep is for the weak. That's honestly what I thought when I was in high school, honestly. And I was like, oh, sleep's a waste of time. I don't need to sleep. But then it came back to haunt me like later on. So I was like, okay, I need to sleep. How long do you think it will be before we get another update on Bachmann Daisy? It's hard to say. I mean, Bachmann's actually doing another Train World thing, on the 15th. on the 15th. So I think that there's a very slim chance they can maybe show like a prototype, like an unpainted sample, kind of like they did with Skarloey back in the summer of 2015. But I think it's very unlikely. I would probably shoot more for like next February. That's the earliest I would probably expect it. But if we're very lucky, we could maybe get like an image out of nowhere, like around Christmas time. Who knows? Turtles, Ertls. I think it's a. All right, Corels. Talk to you later. Thoughts on Strasbourg Railroad? Oh, it's brilliant. I've been there. I've been there twice. Once when I was a baby, and then once when I was in elementary school. And I hope to go there again. I just never got around to it. Yeah. I mean, it's probably much different now. I mean, of course they have Thomas there, but like the merchandise and stuff, like it's just not the same anymore, right? Like, I'm assuming. Now that Wooden Railway's gone and Trackmaster's dead and all that, like, people keep asking me about Victor Tenzig's series. I'll definitely have to check that out. But no, I'm not familiar with his series as of now. But I'll definitely look into it later on. The new Thomas Live movie, I'm interested. I'm interested to see how that will turn out. But we'll just have to wait and see. Did the Hornby Audrey model look creepy? Yeah, I can understand that. It did look a little unsettling, when you look at the face. Yeah, I get what you're saying. What's your favorite brand other than Bachmann and Hornby? Mine is Trackmaster and Playrail. Yeah, I mean, I love Wooden Railway because that's what I mainly grew up with. I also love Ertl. But Tomix would have been brilliant too if they could have somehow expanded the range more, but that never happened. I'm still bummed that Gordon never happened, even though they had him in the catalog for so long, but it is what it is. Layout. Well, you can go back in time in this stream where I actually got up and showed some parts of the layout. Are you going to get more rolling stocks from Bachmann? Yeah, I think what I want to get is 2 more Troublesome Truck 3s, 2 more Troublesome Truck number 5s for a start. So then I could have the faces and then have the right amount of cattle vans and salt vans based on what appeared in the classic series. But then in addition to that, I do plan to get like the new announced rolling stock, such as Troublesome Truck number 6 and the 3 one-plank wagons with loads. So those I'll probably get at some point down the line. Yes, Train Fan 365 did watch GWR Studios, and he just like left out of nowhere. What happened to Murdoch's face? So what happened was I was filming with him one night when I was doing my Peace and Quiet remake, and then I left his mouth, I left like the clay, like for his angry expression, like I left it on overnight, and then it just like melted, not melted, but it almost like, it got to the point where I couldn't take it off, properly. It almost like, how do I describe this? Sorry, sometimes I'm bad at describing things, but you kind of get what I'm saying. I had difficulty peeling it off, and it got to the point where it was peeling off paint from the mouth too, and that's why the mouth looks a little weird. At some point in the future, I might repaint it so it looks more presentable, but that's that. Yes, Dan, 25 man. I've done lots of shopping on Shapeways for Thomas merch, from Good Eldsbridge Productions, who was here before. I'm not sure if he's still here now, but he has a ton of narrow gauge products that I purchased. In addition, I purchased a bunch of oh, he's still here. Great. Eldsbridge Productions. Yeah. I'm advertising his Shapeaway stores here. He has a ton of excellent products for you guys to check out if you guys are interested in accurate models for the TV from the TV series. You just have to repaint them yourselves. That's the only thing. But he's one, and then also a bunch of other people who have constructed 3D printed faces based on the model series. So it's been basically that. Elsbridge Model Shop, that's right. How did I choose what rolling stock I got when I first started? Well, I mean, when I first started out, it was mostly like surprises. Like my parents would surprise me, like, "Oh, I got you a new Troublesome truck," or "I got you like the blue open wagon," like for instance. But as I got older, it's just more like I just said, "Okay, I would like to eventually get 2 of these, 3 of those, just 1 of those," and then I gradually just built the collection, and that's the thing for those of you guys who don't have like much of a collection yet, but want to. It's not something that you just buy all at once. You have to. It's more reasonable like when you pace it out slowly. So you buy, let's say, like 2 locos and some pieces of rolling stock for Christmas one year, let's say, and then let's say your birthday comes around or whatever, and then it's like, okay, it's time to buy another small group and another, and then after like 15 years, you get a pretty expensive collection, so. Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, that was like when I was really young, average Thomas fan. I mean, I was not like, it's not like I was in high school and I was like, or even middle school. This is like when I was like 4, 5, 6, maybe like 6 years old, like I'm saying. And then like afterwards, it was more like, Yeah, okay, Rishi. You do not have a railroad. um, but that's how it happened. Like it was probably like preschool up to like age 6 or 7, and then like afterwards it was just like, what was I interested in, and I would just inform to them, or I would purchase it myself. How do you feel about Neil Rebecca? Well, we already addressed this before. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them, and I hate them. That's it. Yeah. Look, Rebecca, I just don't like because she has nothing to her personality, as so many people have addressed. That's the main issue I have with Rebecca. Nia, I don't like because she just feels so out of place, in terms of her design. And I have nothing against, like, again, like global engines. Like, I don't want to sound like a almost like a Sodor nationalist to the point where it's like I only accept like a certain kind of engine. That's not it at all. The point is that, like, for them to just enter the Steam team so quickly without any proper build up, and then to replace two Audrey characters is just an abomination. And once again, a slap in the face to the Reverend W. Audrey. So yeah, I mean, like, she had a fine personality in Bubba and the Bubba movie itself. It's just like after she comes to Sodor, and I mean, the Bubba movie. I mean, I have my own issues with it, just with how, for example, like they had Thomas go on the freaking, what do you call it, like 360 degrees loop in I don't even remember where it was. It was in like like the Sahara Desert or something. I don't even know, but don't want to think about that. Yeah, Den 25 man, I totally agree. Yeah, like it's amazing. You start your collections like early on, and then it's like, wait, whoa, it's been like 15 years. Like, what happened? So yeah, because I started collecting when I was 5, and I'm 21 now. So yeah, it's been like 15, 16 years. Average Thomas fan, Rishi does not have a bigger model railroad than me. He does not. He doesn't know what it takes to make a model railroad. Yeah, I would have been more okay with that, Khalil Thompson, if Rosie and Molly joined instead of me and Rebecca. I still don't like the idea of replacing Edward and Henry though. I would have rather they just added them, instead of replaced. So absolutely. Den 25 man, I'm very excited to see your model railway layout. It's going to be a lot of progress. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. Let's talk about. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up any other questions. Well, I don't think they betrayed the Steam team. It's just Nia and Rebecca. It's more like they didn't have any substance to them. They didn't have like the right kind of roles to them, to make it the Thomas Steam team more interesting. That was the problem. How much Hornby Murdoch? eBay will tell you. I mean, I was lucky to find my model, back when it was still available for like 150, but fortunately, those days are behind us. Um, let's see. The most inaccurate thing in a Bubba is how people were helpful in America. That's actually funny because like there's, I guess, like it's a stereotype, but there's some truth to that, I guess. Do you know Theodore Tugboat? Yes. When I was very young, I watched Theodore Tugboat. Um, absolutely. Yeah, I understand, Paul. Yeah, like you get distracted with model part and then you have 5 different ideas. Yeah, that happens to me too sometimes. Like sometimes like I'll think to myself, oh, I want to go like work on like the middle section with that hill where when I really should have been focusing on like the new extension as I said I was going to initially do. Because it's amazing. Like I'll walk down thinking I'm going to do one thing and then all of a sudden like my mind will change to like something else out of nowhere. So, coping with that is definitely a challenge at times. All right, guys. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, we're at over 2 hours now. Maybe in like another 10 minutes or so, we'll probably end the stream. So just get your last questions in if you want to talk about anything else. Are you going to recreate Toby's tightrope? Probably not. That would be a little more challenging. I remember when I could get stepped in. Dang, have you ever watched Unlucky Tug? I have, yes. Watched the Unlucky Tug videos. What's on the second reboot? Yeah, we've already addressed this. So just look at older parts, like in the stream. What happened before in the stream. Can you read To Kill a Mockingbird to me? Man, bringing me back to high school. It's been a while. The kids even know who Edward is anymore. I mean, I think the kids know who Edward is because he's the number 2 engine. But it's like they don't know him enough to know that he's like the wise and kind engine. I feel like they'll know of him, but they won't actually know him. If that makes sense. What will my next remake be after 100? That'll depend. I have to think about that, but I'd love to do Foolish Freight Cars. I know that sounds kind of bizarre and like strange since like it's just a random season 1 remake, but Foolish Freight Cars is actually probably one of my favorite season 1 episodes. I just always liked it a lot as a kid for some reason. But maybe either Foolish Freight Cars or if the Bachmann Daisy's out, then Bullseyes. One of those two. Favorite Edward episode? Oh, Edward's Exploit, no doubt. But I also do really love Edward, Trevor, and the Really Useful Party from season 3. That's another great one. There is. Little Jake. You can see in my Sodor scenes from years ago, you can see that there is a chord and cell in my layout. It's not the most accurate because it's only 2 tracks instead of 3. But I technically have one, yeah. Yeah, Thomas and the Trucks, that's another one I was thinking about. I could do that. Dan the 25 Man, really anything, like anything you feel. I mean, because I think that I don't really have every time you make a new remake, you kind of surprise me, in a good way. So it's like I don't really want to make suggestions and be like I guess like I already know what's gonna happen. Like I kind of like it when you don't tell me and then like you surprise me with something interesting. So worst classic car episode, we already addressed this, like the Old Bridge, no doubt. But if we're not gonna include the Old Bridge, then maybe like Thomas and the Guard, seasons 1 to 5, just because it's a very dry episode. The Christmas party episode, yeah. The problem with the problem with the wintertime episodes is that I cannot like. I would have to just like get snow and model that all over the layout, and it's just that might be something I do like. Maybe like once I realize there's a time that I'm going to take down the layout, maybe like a few months in advance, like I'll do at least one of the holiday episodes by first sprinkling snow all over, because that I feel like that's what they often did, like with all the seasons on the show. Like they would do all the ones that didn't involve snow first, and then the Christmas time or snow or winter time one would be last. So Last Train for Christmas, definitely one of the top CGI episodes, no doubt. Pretty sure that's the one with Connor, right? Yeah. Excited to see my next project. Yes, I am. you're going to do and eventually have to move out? Yeah, well, we already addressed this question before, Station Master Productions. I mean, I'm pretty sure you were the one who asked that question, actually. So if you're curious, you can look back before in the chat, because I don't want to say the same thing. What's my favorite CGI episode? Actually, I know this is going to sound like obvious because I'm a Terrence fan, but Terrence Breaks the Ice. I love it so much. I thought it was just very well put together, and just the fact that like you had, it's like you had Terrence save Thomas in Terrence's debut episode, and now you have Thomas saving Terrence in Terrence's last episode. You know, very well put together. You know, sometimes HO and O, it's not as apparent as it seems. At least like with the Thomas lines, but I think that because the Bachmann models are technically double O, you know, so like that's why they blend in well with Hornby. But I have seen like images online where it's like you'll see like an OO flying Scotsman, like an HO, and it's like, wow, the height difference is completely different. Bachmann making for Farquhar. Oh, if only. I would love to see Bachmann make for Farquhar. I was gonna say, yeah, technically Bachmann is OO. Would you rather only be able to watch season 7 or the show? Oh, season 7, without a doubt. That's like not like would I rather be able to be able to watch season 7 or something? Yeah, season 7, just because it's a model series, and many of the stories are actually quite enjoyable, if you ask me. Yeah. Oh, actually, I have a question for all you guys now. What would you say? Do you prefer season 6 or season 7, and why? Yeah, as expected, it's like 50-50. Yeah, it's interesting because like yeah. See, season 6 just had very, very awkward lighting to me. Everything looked very dead in a way, you know? It was also very fast paced. Whereas season 7, I think they color corrected it. And also the episodes, in terms of, in my opinion, in terms of how they were paced, the openings felt much more mellow and a little slower, little more moderately paced, kind of like the episodes from 1 to 5. Like you look at episodes like Salty Secret, for example, and how James is just storming by at the very beginning. I remember like seeing that for the first time and thinking, I'm like jumping at that. No joke, because I had the volume up pretty high, and it was like, duh, duh. Like you guys probably know what I'm saying when James just storms by at the very opening. But yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I'm not saying season 6 was bad. I think that so here's the thing: season 6 probably overall had, I guess, had less bad episodes, if that makes sense. Like they didn't have episodes like The Old Bridge, you know what I mean, where like Scarlet was where it really had a character. But I do think that season 7 was the episodes that are good are stronger than the best episodes of season 6, honestly. If you really think about it, season 6 was probably the most gimmicky classic season, you know, with all the things they did, you know. But once again, it's not it's by far from bad. Far from bad. That's funny. Like I sound like your math professor. I guess I'll take it as a compliment. I mean, yeah, like a lot of people say like I have a very like scholarly voice, and it's, I mean, I just take it as a compliment. You know, I don't get all offended by it, but you know. What is your favorite musical era and favorite composer to play? Okay, so if you want to talk about music for a sec, so as a classical pianist, I love the Romantic era very much. And if you guys know classical music piano repertoire, Chopin, Liszt, Schumann, Brahms, composers, those are the ones. Mendelssohn, Schubert. But I would say overall, it always changes. But I've really been digging the Brahms piano sonatas lately. So Probably that. Probably one of those. Hmm. Definitely a color true. Baldwin narrated season 7. Tell your story about the piano concert. What do you think about Impressionist? Oh, I love Impressionist era music. So you mean like Debussy, Ravel, the French composers, Fauré. But yeah, mainly Debussy, Ravel. I played quite a few works by there. La Valse is one of my favorites by Ravel. Do I like the 3B's composers? Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the third B's subjective. You know, there's Bach, Beethoven, and then some people will say Brahms, some people will say Bruckner, some people will say Berlioz. You know, but Bach and Beethoven are the first two, without a doubt. Oh, okay. Average Thomas fan, yeah. So I was telling him a story one time, and like, um, there was a piano festival that I attended last summer. That I attended last summer, but Alec Baldwin was a guest speaker at that piano festival I attended. However, I didn't get to see him because I was part of the second session where Alec Baldwin was the guest speaker in the first section for one of the concerts. So I was like, oh damn, because I was going to actually tell Alec Baldwin about the Magic Railroad parody, you know, the one that Nikki and Jacob and Rob were working on. But it just never happened because I didn't get to meet him in person. But it's just incredible to think that I was just like a few days away from seeing Alec Baldwin, because he went to the last concert of the first session, and the second session just started a few days after. And just damn, right? Talk about bad timing there, but yeah, Baroque music is lovely too. I love Bach and Handel and Vivaldi. Who do you not own? So I guess like you mean by like Bachmann engines? Well, I guess the new releases mainly, and then I actually don't have Bachmann Diesel, Arium Burt yet. I don't have those, so those are ones I'm gonna have to look into at some point. But yeah. What are you majoring in college? Yeah, piano performance and music education. So hopefully I hope to become a professor at a college, university, or a public school in the future. So favorite genre. So I guess in general terms, classical, but if you want to be more specific, romantic. So basically the 1800s. You know, have I played any Gershwin? It's funny. I've sight read some Gershwin, but I haven't actually performed any Gershwin. It's interesting, but I love Rhapsody in Blue, obviously, and so many other great works by him. But what I will say is that, you know, because Gershwin's a little more jazzy, I play some Kapustin etudes. I don't know if Paul, if you're familiar with Kapustin. So I see that we're now down to like 34 people watching because we're talking about music, which is just funny, but whatever. We're probably about to wind down anyway, so that's okay. Have I seen Endgame? No, I actually haven't. I have to watch that at some point. Thoughts on Seven Who do you not own in Hornby? Okay, so pretty much most of them actually. I only own all the ones that Bachmann has not made, plus like Doc Oliver, Stepney, Bill Ben. I guess like the ones I don't have are Gordon, Henry, Spencer, Emily, Edward, Bear, and Dart. Those are the 7 I don't have. If you, yeah, I don't have Dart. I don't. Yeah. What genre of music is the Eagles? Because I'm actually not familiar with them. So I'll definitely look into it if interested to know some background knowledge on them first. How are we doing here? Okay, good. Okay, 1970s classic. Okay, I'll have to look into them. Yeah. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know much rock, to be honest. Of course, I know Queen. I know the Beatles. I know like some 80s rock, like Guns N' Roses and like Aerosmith, like that kind of stuff. But again, it's like here and there, you know. It's kind of like I'm not like an avid rock fan, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if it's on the radio every now and then I'll put it on, but like the music I'm solely like attentive to, like I'll go home and I'll look it up constantly is classical, but I'll definitely look it up, you know, the Eagles. Do you watch American football? No. I'm not much of a sports guy. But in terms of viewing sports, I like tennis. Um that's pretty much it, honestly. Favorite Thomas song? As I said, I like the Red Balloon very much, but also Accidents Will Happen. Absolutely, I agree. Tennis is mesmerizing. Do I play Mario Kart? Yes, of course. Who hasn't played Mario Kart? But my sister is much more into it than I am. In fact, she wants Mario Kart 8. We haven't gotten Mario Kart 8 yet, but we have Mario Kart Wii. You know, and occasionally I'll play that with her. Okay, now we're going into video games. All right, guys, but um, other than Mario Kart, it's funny. Like Wii Sports, Mario Kart, like those are the only two really. Like Minecraft, Fortnite, like all these, like and like I wouldn't be surprised if some of you might ask me about like Call of Duty and all this other stuff. Like I never really like did any of that stuff, to be honest. But that's that. Um, so if you guys have any more last minute questions pertaining Thomas, just let me know because I'm probably in a minute or so I'm going to close off the stream for the night. But thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I had a great time, and hopefully next time we'll add in maybe some guests and make the stream a little more entertaining. Because the stream was pretty much just me getting familiar with how the stream system works, and such. And yeah, thank you so much. All right, she's saying, "Wait, what do you want, Rishi? What do you want to say?" Let's wait for Rishi to say something, then we'll finish the stream for the night. When's the next episode of Streets? As I said, it's gonna come out probably mid to late January. Roblox Thomas games, never played them. Favorite Thomas sing along song? I already stated Khalil. It's the Red Balloon or Accidents Will Happen. All right, and it looks like Rishi's not going to say anything. So on that note, let's end the stream for the night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the night. I had a great time. Again, the whole point of the stream was because I said to a friend, "Oh, if Biden wins the election, I'm going to do this," and I did it just for dignity, just sake of dignity, you know. So I came through. I came through, and there you have it. So this is TerenceTheTractor525, and have a great night, guys.